Whoa. Man, feels pretty good today.
It feels real good.
There's this tone this week that maybe, I don't know, if we played Georgia, that we, I don't know how we match up with them. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the name that they have, the color of the jerseys, the history and everything like that. Washington can compete with any team in the country. And I think that's what my big takeaway from this week was, outside of obviously beating the Ducks and the glory that comes with that. We can play with any team in the country and beat them. Not play with them, we can beat them.
And Izzo, to your point, playing with anyone in the country, man, JMac allows us to play with anyone in the country. It allows us to put anyone in a bad matchup.
Guys, I got Izzo, I got Noah with me. We are dubbed up. Fellas, it happened. We beat Oregon 3 times in a row. Izzo, how you feeling, bro? How you doing with this?
Whoa. Well. Huh? Should we get like a little moment of silence? I think I promised a little moment of silence for all the people who are waffling on the timeline this week. We're scared. I mean, everybody's scared. I get it. But man, feels pretty good today.
It feels real good.
Vindication doesn't quite capture just what the last 3 years, 2.5 years, whatever it's been, that we've kind of started this thing and got this community going, and we're on Spaces super late at night. Noah and I are sitting there just fielding all this crap, people laughing at us, Oregon fans laughing at us about what we were saying about our team and how it wasn't a foregone conclusion that because of star ratings that Oregon had been pulling in these classes, that it was going to for sure be Oregon just dominating the Pac-12, and we were pushing back. And man, just to have gone through all of that banter and be 13-0. I don't want to make this about us, man. This is about Husky Nation, and Washington Husky football is on the tip of the lips of every college football fan, every analyst, every pundit. Had to eat their words who were hating on UW and picked against us. And so, I mean, blank check DeBoer. It seems like Courtney getting the promotion earlier this week is maybe step one, or kind of like maybe an indication to our fan base that maybe we can start to feel good about the KDB situation with his contract. KDB is Dan Lanning's dad. I mean, officially at this point.
check Wikipedia. Even on Wikipedia.
There's plenty of Husky Twitter that we all love and interact with. One of my favorite guys is Mike Penix, saved my life. I love that name. First of all, I always literally message back to him and I'm like, hey, this man's life was literally saved by Mike Penix. We need to give this man some credit. But it's just, he's the one who, if it was going to get changed on Wiki, I'm looking to you, buddy. I hope that you pull the trigger on that and you put some work in on the Wikipedia. But yeah, man, this is just amazing. We have a real chance at a national championship. I don't want to hear, there's this tone this week that maybe, I don't know, if we played Georgia, that we, I don't know how we match up with them. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the name that they have, the color of the jerseys, the history and everything like that. Washington can compete with any team in the country. And I think that's what my big takeaway from this week was, outside of obviously beating the Ducks and the glory that comes with that. We can play with any team in the country and beat them. Not play with them, we can beat them. Because of the staff that we have, the stars that we have. Noah said it this week. We're the more elite team in that matchup, and we look elite. We do. You want the eye tests? This was the eye test. Agreed. You look the part. That's what I gotta say.
Dude, that was a war. It was a war, man. That game had a lot of similarities to week 6 on Montlake.
Oh yeah.
It we absolutely got out to that quick lead. And they fought back, but dude, winners win. And that's what we do, man. And we've made winning a habit. And that's kind of what is allowed. I think it's given the confidence to our players. And Izzo, to your point, playing with anyone in the country, man, JMac allows us to play with anyone in the country. It allows us to put anyone in a bad matchup in the country. And then I just got to say, and you hit it with the blank check DeBoer. Dude, Kalen Douglas DeBoer is an American football coach, man. But he is our football coach.
He is.
He's 24-2 at the University of Washington, man. He's 3-0 versus freaking rival. 3-0. Dan Lanning, all the pressure we set it to start the week was on him. Dude, and you saw it. We got up quick and everything started to get a little bit tighter, man. They had that pucker factor going big time.
The pucker factor.
We said it last year when we beat them down in Autzen. We said it on Montlake on week 6. The University of Washington is the 2023 Pac-12 Championship from now until eternity. And this is a program-changing win. We are back, boys. We 100%. Are back.
This might catapult. Amen, man. You said it. This is the type of win that catapults you into the blue blood, the top 5 to 7 type of program. You nail down Kalen DeBoer, and it feels like it's almost like foregone. If the talent acquisition continues as it is, truthfully, through the portal, and we continue to get guys who are instant impact, this is where we can be 100%.
We got the makings of a juggernaut is what it is.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful because there was a lot of pressure on us. There was a lot of people saying we weren't going to be able to do it. And we ended up taking all the naysayers, and it was everybody. And we proved them wrong. And we've done it over and over and over again. So I say, let's dive into this. I mean, the lights were the brightest down in Las Vegas. You had literally every college football eye on you. And you showed up, come out to a 20-3 lead, which I know we were all texting with each other. It was beautiful. Noah, what were your biggest takeaways from the game, from what you saw?
Yeah, man, I don't know if I'm keeping these glasses on the whole time, but I'm keeping them on for the right time. But man, I'm gonna tell you what, the biggest difference I saw from the jump was the physicality. That was one thing that a lot of people have talked about with Oregon. Dude, they're so deep. They've got all these guys they've recruited. They got Birch out of South Carolina. Dorless came back again, and they're just so physical. They got this offensive line. Dude, we out-physicaled them again. That's what kept us in the game in Montlake. And this time, dude, we punched them, and we kept it going, man. This is an old-school heavyweight fight. And, dude, I think – if you remember, we set the tone with multiple hits on special teams, on defense last game, dude. And that exact same thing happened again. And it's like, guys were flying around. We finally got healthy, man. How about our DBs coming back? Keeping wide receivers in the box. You saw Jabbar doing this.
Yeah,
people don't know. That's it. That's him saying, we put you in a box and that's where you're staying. Then they hit him with a sword. I mean, dude, it is just absolute. That defense, you could tell, was just dialed from the back to the front. And we'll get into that later when we talk about like some of our players of the game and kind of what we saw. But you asked that question, what did I see? I saw physicality. And that's what really set the tone for this game to kick off.
Well, you're totally right, because between Tez Johnson and Troy Franklin, they didn't have 100 yards between them. That's big time for a team that, if you watch them play USC, they went up top quick whenever they wanted and really beat up on USC. So to see the secondary really step up like that, it was pretty huge. Izzo, what did you see? What were the things that kind of stuck out to you as far as the keys that led to our success? Because we talked about them in the pregame, but they actually showed. They really showed.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Bo Nix's 44-yard run, I think it was in the third quarter, that was the only time outside, I guess you could say, that touchdown pass to Terrence Ferguson where they broke contain. And honestly, the pass to Ferguson with the one-handed catch that was a 2-yard touchdown, I don't even know if you call that broken contain. They literally drew up a play where it looked like Bo was going to be running it in, and then they flipped past it to Terrence Ferguson, who looked like he was going to be blocking. So But that was the big thing for me on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, was just like, hey, can we make sure that Bo and these running backs don't break to the outside? Because I think I felt good coming into this game about our interior defensive line against their interior offensive line, and we shut them down. And again, we'll talk about, the individuals who played a factor in that, because like, Thule, for instance, like he may not show up on the stat sheet a lot in this game, but his presence was felt, and that forced them to try to attack the edges. And they did a poor job at that against our edge play. So we asked for discipline on the outside, and we got discipline on the outside. And that's a big tip of the cap there. To just the scheme up front was nails. And the scheme, if you take away that 44-yard run from Bo, I mean, they have less than 100 yards rushing. This is the premier rushing attack on the West Coast, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, premier.
Yeah. And and you would have held them, I think, to like 79 yards if you take that run away. No, I'm really curious. You talked about allowing them to get their intermediate passes and taking away the long shot. I actually thought it was going to be the opposite. I actually wanted to see maybe we could create some turnovers by them going deep. And both you and Mike were saying like, hey, let's take away the deep ball and let's let them play their intermediate game and try to beat us that way. And you guys were right.
That was like one of the things, make Bo beat you with intermediate passes and then tackle and keep those guys in front of you. And as this morning, as I was looking into this game, I mean, dude, Bo only had a passing depth completion, which is like pretty much when he targets a receiver, like how far down the field is he? Dude, it was 6.5 yards.
Wow.
Dude, so to put that in comparison for someone's like, is that a lot? Is that a little? Penix on the year is averaging 11.1. So he's averaging a first down every time he throws the ball. So 6.5 to 11.1 is like a very, very large number.
Dude, what was Penix's for that game though? That's what I'm curious about.
So Penix's for the game was just under 9.
We saw J-Mac, we saw Jalen Polk, we saw Devin Culp even get into it where they caught a short pass and they were to take something with it. Maybe they caught 5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage, but they took it for 10, 11, 12. And it seemed like it really gave gusto and brought confidence back to like J-Mac and J Polk, especially. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how that worked out. It worked out for us, but it didn't really work out for them.
No, seriously. And dude, if you watch this game, and I'm not wearing my glasses right now, and I ain't wearing my purple glasses either. Mm-hmm. If you watch that game and you come out of that game and you say, yeah, I still think Bo Nix's a better quarterback than Michael Penix, you're like legitimately lying to yourself. Like, I'm sorry. Yourself. You're playing yourself, dude. Like you are. I mean, the difficulty of throws that Mike Penix is willing to take. What is the thing we talked about last year with that Taj Davis touchdown to beat them in Austin? The throw was incredible.
Yeah.
The throw was absolutely incredible, right? But the difference is there's only one, maybe two quarterbacks in the country that would even take that throw.
All right, let's move on to our offensive players / plays of the game. Noah, I'm going to start with you on this one. Who on offense or what plays on offense, or maybe you got one of each, really stuck out to you as far as what led to our successes?
I got two. I got J-Mac as my first man. And dude, he's such a complete difference maker. Dude, 9 for 131. And just what he does to the defense. I mean, he just he squeezes and expands the defense like all at once. It's like dude, we talked about this, man. They put guys in motion. And then we're like, okay, who's going to guard Rome? They're going to, and you guys notice that they bracketed Rome a ton in that game. And so that gave Polk and J-Mac just opportunity to run. But you know what J-Mac really does for UW? Dude, he changes the ceiling of this team. What was the thing that Pete said? Great teams, and then there's elite teams. Dude, he takes UW, and I swear, he takes UW from being great to being an elite type team, because he just exposes, like having our running back with DJ, our elite offensive line, Mike Penix, and then that wide receiver group we have. The defenses don't have enough. They just don't, man. And he's that player. The other thing I wanted to point out really quick is the offensive line. absolutely dominant. We said this as one of my kind of my keys. It was like, win up front on both sides of the ball in the trenches, and we'll be right there in the game. Dude, they absolutely punked Oregon from the jump. 60 minutes of absolute trench warfare, dog pounding, just absolute. We beat the crap out of those guys. And dude, here's something cool right here. Brandon Dorlus, very good player.
I'm gonna knock Penix out the game.
Yeah, top 30, top 40 type pick. Game 1, 7 pressures, 5 tackles, a sack, and a pass deflection. Pac-12 Championship, 2 pressures, nothing else.
I mean, 2 players that you have to call out. Well, a whole group that you have to call out as the tight ends, man. They blocked so well on that Jeremy touchdown. What was a Dylan Johnson pass, but it was really kind of like a shovel, like toss right in front of him.
Little pop pass.
Yeah, a little pop pass that he got credit for a passing touchdown on. If you watch it, Westy and Culp seal their guys perfectly. It's coming up on my TV right now. It was nails, and it didn't take. I mean, it wasn't like it was a walk in, like Jeremy had to dive for it. But if they don't seal their edges and get their guys out of that play, that might not be a touchdown, it might be a loss. So I just thought, if you look at how they graded out for the entire game, they were all over the grade sheets for top-notch pass blocking and run blocking in this game. So I just want to give a tip of the cap to both of those guys, because Westy and Culp, because they were nails in that regard. With the offensive line, there wasn't a single player on the offensive line who graded below a 71 in pass blocking.
Wow.
Like that's impressive, man. And this is a team where that was their strength against our offense, right? Was like, they're going to be able to create pressure. And man, part of that has to go. And this is going to be outside of the tight ends and just the blocking in general. Dylan Johnson going with, I said this, maybe more Toradol in that foot than bones left. Man, to get, holes were open for him, but to go for 152 and 3 touchdowns, that's the tough stuff. The toughness thing from Leach, rest in peace. That is completely out the window at this point. This kid is tough as hell. And
he also had the touchdown pass too.
Yeah, touchdown pass, but yeah, technically. And it wasn't just the rushing stats and what he was able to do, like in various different points of this game and sealing the game with that run at the end of it. But he stepped up and made some huge blocks in the pass game. Huge. So everybody, we asked that, can we put it all together? And it seems like we did, man. We put everything together in this game and played how we need to play. And this wasn't even the top end. This wasn't the best we can do, but it was close. This is phenomenal.
And DJ's at what I think it's 1,113 yards for the season.
Fantastic.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, put him over 1,000.
What a season. What a season.
And again, just when we're talking about putting everything together, there's a stat that really stands out for this. There's 2. One is time of possession, 37 minutes versus 23 UW. The other is 10 of 15 on third down. Wow. Fantastic, man.
Fantastic. We also got to give some love to Grady Gross. Again,
amen.
4 extra points, 2 field goals, and we won by 3 points, guys. So that mattered a ton, and it seems like he's taking over where the kickers have left off, where we seem to always have a guy that can make the kick when we need it. All right, let's look to the defensive side of the ball. Izzo, I'm going to stay with you on this one. Who were your players or plays that really stuck out to you on the defensive side?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Fab is obviously one. I'm gonna let. I know Noah's got some things to say about him, so I'm gonna leave him out of those my guys. But Thule and Trice are maybe my 2. And again, I'm trying to find deep cuts here, because with Thule, for instance, because he didn't just jump out on the stat sheet, but he takes away their ability to get big chunks up the middle. And you saw that in this game, man. He absolutely had a factor. He only played 30 snaps. He had just 1 tackle, but he's a big reason why they couldn't come up the middle and why they schemed away from him. Frankly, They were trying to go to the edges like we talked about, and ZTF and the whole defensive line and the outside linebackers and edges, they kind of did what they needed to do to keep guys in front of them rather than get them out in space. But Thule's a big factor in that, because if you don't have him in the middle, they probably change their scheme and can get some chunks and keep their drives longer. And that time of possession is largely impacted by his presence in the middle.
Hey,
so you're
totally right, because what, to your point, Bucky Irving had 20 yards. Jordan James had 35, and they don't do that.
No, that's unheard of for their season this year. So he's a massive factor that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. And then Trice is the other one. He had that he had five tackles, 5 pressures, and a tackle for loss. But I think that tackle for loss is getting lost a little bit in the narrative of this game because it was massive. So it was in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 9, UW's up 27-24. Bo was trying to break contain, and ZTF was playing like inside linebacker on the initial read. It was weird. He stepped back behind the offensive line. I think Herbie pointed it out during the broadcast.
And then he swooped around, right?
Swooped around, but it was just a really, I mean, I don't know what offensive line could have done very well in that position, because it was a really tough look for any offensive line.
Yeah.
ZTF is doing all sorts of crazy stuff in the middle of the field, and Trice comes around on a stunt, and Bo doesn't see it initially. It's perfect. He doesn't see it initially. He looks to break contain and run up the middle. 3rd and 9. It causes a punt because Braylon's right there to get the the tackle for loss. It was he quietly also impacted this game in a huge way. You know, I can't say it anymore. You needed them to play disciplined on the outside, the entire defensive line, and they absolutely showed up. So I'll give it to Trice and to Thule, and then go ahead.
Dude, Asa Turner and Cam Fab, dude, just absolute
difference
difference makers, field generals, man. Everyone just feels more comfortable. Everybody has more confidence, and everybody is in their proper position. It just feeds into like all of the tentacles of the defense, man. And you see us making tackles in open field. You see Mish come out of bounds, come back in, make a pick. And it was just huge. Dude, we held Troy Franklin to 34 yards, nothing over the top, just like we talked about. And it's like, maybe we didn't put a perfect game together, but dude, we put about a 95% perfect game together. Dude. That thing was absolutely dialed. And I don't want to hear a thing about our defense again. And Izzo and I were chopping it up this morning. He brought up a really, really good point. People have asked me, like, well, why aren't the linebackers the ones like calling the plays, or like, calling out like, where guys should be or making corrections? And Izzo was like, well, Chuck Morrell's he's the D coordinator, but he's also the safety coach. Mm-hmm. And that was actually I never thought about it that way. Like, yeah, no wonder Asa and Cam Fab are the ones always, calling out or having such a firm understanding of what we're trying to do schematically. They got the D coordinator sitting in their room with them, Yeah. So I just, the Cam Fab and Asa, man, the return, get healthy. And man, they're such difference makers, bro.
You know who I think we have to give some props to as well is the corners. Jabbar got absolutely hosed on that PI call.
Oh my God. One of the worst.
Yeah.
Bro, one of the worst PIs I've ever seen.
He kept his head, and it didn't mess him up. And I think the big thing is you didn't hear Elijah Jackson getting burnt. You didn't hear Mish getting burnt. You didn't hear any of these guys' names pop up because they were doing such a good job. And a lot, like on that play with we were talking about with Trice and ZTF, the little swoop around play.
Yeah,
that play doesn't happen if the back end isn't holding it down.
Totally.
And the back end, because he's got to get to his 3rd and 4th reads, and by the time he does it, there's already pressure on him. And so I think the secondary as a whole, and we've been giving a lot of props to the safeties, but the corners, who, like I said, they've been up and down all year except for Jabbar, who's really been a stalwart for us. They really came through and made some big time plays.
Absolutely.
Big plays. Let's talk about areas for improvement, because we didn't play a perfect game. We came close, but we didn't play a perfect game.
What I wrote was nothing, bro. We 13-0. The only thing I got, man, and this is just Uncle No getting a little nitpicky. Mike gets happy feet sometimes. And maybe even when like times he shouldn't, like there's a little bit of pressure, there's some pressure on the edges, maybe something, but they get washed out just like the way they're supposed to. Just step up in the pocket. He gets outside, which maybe it's called for, but he just gets a little too excited instead of just kind of like trust in his eyes and just kind of keep the scan going. It's going to be quick. He processes at one of the top in the country. So that's kind of the thing that I would like to see is maybe in these next like 3-4 weeks of practice, just work on those happy feet a little bit. Just kind of maybe a little back to the basics. Work with Grubb. Work with one of the other quarterback coaches, quarterback assistants, and just that's what I really like to see is just get those happy feet dialed in a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna piggyback on is it's you see that happen, and it's not something that you're gonna really be able to coach out right now. It's too late in the season. You're just never gonna have it be a 100%. Mike is nails mechanically with his feet. This late in the season is something that you can adjust. So I'll leave it at that. There's just very little to try to pick apart from this offense with things to improve from this game.
I think that's real. And what's one of the things that really stuck out the most, and we talked about this last week. I think Ryan Grubb's play calling this week was some of the best I've ever seen him do, because I've seen him in games, early in the season where he was able to just do whatever he wanted. And he can, of course, pick apart a defense like that. But when you're playing a team where you got to be pressing the right pressure points at the right times, he was doing that. He didn't go away from the run when there was times when I know he wanted to, and we kept doing it. And I think that's an area of improvement from last week that he really stood on and did well. Now looking to the defense, let me ask you guys this. What areas do you think we can improve going into CFP play?
I want to say an area of improvement, and then it's something that we saw improved, and we talked about this, is come with a vengeance on every tackle. Like, just light dudes up, man. And that's just one. I just want to shout that out, man. Our boys came with it, man, and the defense was just absolutely, dude. They were trying to hurt you, man. And I mean, that's what you have to do against an offense like that. But the thing I really want to see is, and I especially saw it on Bo's run, Bo's big run, scamper outside. Dude, don't give up on plays. Like, and we've actually done a great job, man. Guys run plays down all the time. But just as a reminder, man, don't give up on plays. You just never know when you're going to get a cutback and someone's going to come right to you, and you're just going to be able to light someone up and might cause a fumble, whatever that is. And so just don't give up on the plays, man, because it's an opportunity, man, for a quick hit turnover. So
that's a great call, Noah. Yeah, you could say there's some tackling stuff, but I think you hit the nail on the head, because it's not just in this game where you've seen that. There's been a couple of like long runs where you see some players taper off toward the end of the play, where you don't know. Like in this circumstance, it looked like maybe Bo was getting short. Like maybe you could have caught him, but there wasn't the guys who were kind of left in the back during the beginning of the play. They didn't make the effort to get all the way downfield to kind of corral him. And the other play was last week. There was that play to the kind of the corner of the end zone where it looked like guys weren't trying to get him out of bounds. I think it was Victor for Wazoo. And so that's a great call out, actually. If you play when we're talking about the tackling there, for the most part, it was nails. And I think some of this gets like stuck in our mind where we're like, yeah, we were all over the field tackling because we saw the Cam Fab tackle where he flips Terrence Ferguson. We graded out this, individually speaking, there was more players who did well tackling in this game than others for sure. But you have to play your best games tackling defensively. When we face Michigan and Georgia, you have to be nails. Like, you have to make sure that you wrap guys up. So that's kind of my call out just in general, is that we got to continue to improve, continue to get better. This was a step in the right direction, but there's still area to grow.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially as we go forward and playing these backs and receivers and tight ends that are in the SEC or the Big Ten, we're going to have to be even better than we were, even though we were played so well this last week. The Dubbed Up podcast is brought to you by Auto Presents. Go check out everything at autogang.com. On January 13th, Bamboo is at the Clockout Lounge in Seattle. Make sure you go hit the like, subscribe, and comment button. Also join our Discord. The link is in the bio. It's free to join, but for just $8 a month, you can be on the inside, join the VIP, get all this information first.
This is the time to join as we enter into this portal, opening or whatever. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get fun. We're going to hear about everything and try to pass along what we're allowed to and be respectful of the timelines of everybody and stuff like that. But I can tell you right now, in terms of just the structure of how everything works, it's just, we're going to know all of the things that you're going to want to know when it comes to talent acquisition and what next year looks like and who's going to, what quarterback acquisition is potentially on the docket.
Man, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how far we take it, because a natty, and like I said, we beat Oregon to get to the Pac-12 championship, beat them 3 times in 13 months. It's been dreamlike. For my guy Izzo, for Noah, I'm Mike Flunt. This is Dubbed Up. We'll see you next week. Go Dogs.